Howdy folks, greetings and welcome to this Sunday morning. I'm going to drive to Worthing. Come join me. Now, as always, drive me videos. I'll timestamp all the various topics I talk about down below. I'm going to talk about by-elections, Starmer. I want to talk a little bit about this shoplifting thing, where they're going to stop putting shoplifters in prison because the prisons are so full. I want to talk a little bit about that because I've got a little bit of knowledge on that. I've done like 15 years of retail, so I know I've had my fair share of shoplifters in my time. And but first of all, I just want to mention on Monday I'm going to have a longish drive with Mrs. Van in the van, so it's going to be a perfect opportunity to do another one of those Q&A videos. You seemed to enjoy that last time, so yeah, if you've got any questions you want to ask me on any topic, politics or anything, put your questions down below. If you can put like a capital Q or something at the start, so it's easy for Mrs. Van when she's scrolling through the comments to screenshot the questions, and she'll read them out to me on the journey. Now, I'm not going to read any of the comments till afterwards, so the questions are going to be fresh, so I'm not going to see any of the questions, so they'll be fresh to me. But yeah, if you've got any questions you want to put down below, do that, and we'll do that on Monday. So yeah, let's once we get past this skateboarder and little 4-year-old daughter, we'll start on the topics today. So first of all, by-elections. Now, is it possible? I mean, Tories getting absolute trouncing left, right and centre. They played a bit of a trick with ULEZ recently on that one that they did win, but other than that, they're getting absolutely trounced. And my question is it possible that the Tories could not even be the opposition party in the next election? Could they get that badly decimated? Because I really don't understand who's voting for them. I mean, you know, I've never understood that anyway, but you know, at least before I kind of understood like the older homeowner that wanted to keep their house prices high that would vote Tory because, you know, they've done a good job of keeping house prices high. They've just built enough houses to be able to keep a certain amount of people happy, but not actually raise house prices. So I understood that vote. I kind of before understood maybe the traditional conservative vote with conservative values about working hard and getting through in life, and the religious thing, you know, you think of like Theresa May or something, that sort of person, you know, traditional conservative values, I get that, and but they're getting none of this stuff right, absolutely none of this stuff. If you're a homeowner and you want, you're concerned about your mortgage and stuff like that, interest rates got absolutely decimated with Liz Truss. They can't be trusted on that. Homeowners aren't going to trust them on keeping their house prices high. Conservative values, the kids haven't got prospects in life. What sort of opportunities are open to kids now where they can really, you know, have that conservative mindset of if you work hard and you grind, you can get through in life, but then education is absolute tatters, or you got to be slandered with tons of debt to go to university, so they're not going to vote for him for that. Traditional values got decimated with Boris Johnson. I mean, you know, don't underestimate how many grandparents out there still will never vote Tory again because they couldn't see their grandkids during lockdown, but it's okay for the Tory members to have their parties. You know, I know that's a long time ago, and most people have forgotten about it, and most people don't care, to be honest. Most people don't care. They were having parties, they don't care. But grandparents, traditional Tory voters, they do care about that stuff. Even your ultra right wing faction that might vote Tory, you know, they've shown that they can't be trusted on immigration, on boats and hotels and all this stuff. They're not going to vote for the Tories. They can see through their facade. They can see that they're fake. You know, they'll vote for reform or something like that. They know that. So who is voting for the Tories? I mean, who is that voter base now? I just can't see it. I don't know where it is. I don't know who's voted for them, but people still are. I mean, in these by-elections, like I look at the amount of people that voted for him. I think, like, you know, I can't remember the exact stats. Around 17,000 or something in each by-election. I think, why are those people voting? I mean, the only sort of voter base that I can still kind of think that might vote for the Tories is obviously the ultra-rich. I mean, the billionaires, the 1%. but by my nature of what I just mentioned there, they're the 1%. So, but I guess maybe the middle ground rich people, your millionaires. But then how many millionaires are there? There's still not a large enough percentage to get 17,000 votes in a bloody local by-election. I guess it still must be the people that understand the first past the post system and just still have so much negative, just had this inbuilt negativity over the Labour Party over the years that has been forced down their throats by the newspapers that they read and the media that they consume. But like I said, even in every one of those aspects, public services, Tories are decimated. If you've got grandkids, you're going to be thinking about their future. You're going to be thinking about their education. Do you generally think the Tories are going to sort that out? I don't get even that sort of middle ground voter, your average Daily Mail reader. I can't see how they can still think that the Tories will be a better option for their grandkids, for the world that they're going to leave to their grandkids, and even their house prices. Labour are so standard. They're not really that much different economically under Starmer, are they? It does fascinate me. But the question I posed at the beginning, wasn't it, was could they even lose so badly that they're not even the opposition? Well, I guess that's down to the Lib Dems, isn't it? And they're still a funny bunch, the Lib Dems. Could they get more seats than the Conservatives? I can't see that, because Starmer gets criticised a lot for not knowing what his values are and what he stands for, but the Lib Dems even more. I mean, pluck anyone off the street and ask them what sort of three core positions do the Lib Dems hold right now. If they could put three things into policy, what would they be? I don't know. No idea. I even listened to that podcast with Ed Davey and Alistair Campbell, and I came out of it more confused than anything else. I don't really know what they stand for. They used to be pro-European. I mean, that would be a really, really interesting scenario if they were still ultra pro-European. It baffles me why they took away that stance, because I guess their target is to get those disgruntled Tory Brexit voters, but I think there's a far bigger chunk of this country that are pro-European, and I think that would make it really, really interesting for the next election if you had a solid pro-European Lib Dem party. I don't know. Lib Dems I'm sure they have lots of intelligent people in their party that have analysed the best strategy to have, but to me it just seems like a massive own goal to not go full pro-European. I think I would pledge my bets on them being the opposition with that stance, because there isn't a political party that has that stance. I guess the Greens do, but it's not really one of their main core. It will be on their manifesto to try and rejoin the EU, but it's not. They're not going to be like campaigning on it. It's not going to be at the forefront of what they care about, really, is it? There is no sort of massive pro-European party. So yeah, the Lib Dem's going to be the opposite. No, probably not. I don't think they've got a good core enough message, and they're really bizarre anyway. Like I see their social media posts and stuff. What did I see the other day? They put a post up: the Lib Dems will make sexual harassment illegal. I'm like, surely it's illegal already, right? I mean, I know this country has gone down the shitter for a long time, but please tell me that sexual harassment in the workplace is still illegal. I mean, what does that even mean? I don't know. Their social media is really bizarre. But yeah, I could not, like I said, I listened to a whole podcast with Ed Davey. I can't think of three policies that they would want to introduce. Which is a real shame, really, because there's a strong chance that they could be in coalition. So even if they could get their one main policy through, I don't know what it is. Put down below if you know, if you can name three main policies that the Lib Dems want to introduce. they're always a protest vote, aren't they, the Lib Dems? They all just rely on disgruntled Tory voters or disgruntled Labour voters. I think that's their base, isn't it? You do get pockets of the country that always sort of get a Lib Dem, they have a Lib Dem safe seat, don't they? It always baffles me why. But anyway, let's move on. Keir Starmer. I do always try and avoid talking about Israel Palestine. I mentioned it on a previous video. I don't feel I'm qualified enough to talk on the subject. I know a little bit about it, which I think is the worst position to have, because you don't know which little bit of information you have. But I still have an opinion on Starmer's opinion on the subject. And what frustrated you? So Keir Starmer came out recently and didn't condemn Israel's war crimes against Palestine, their retaliation for the attacks, the fact that they're cutting off water, they're cutting off electricity, all these things, and there's so much suffering for innocent Palestinians. He wouldn't condemn it, and it's frustrating, because I actually came out and said I was quite impressed with the way he handled that during his speech at the Labour Party conference. During his speech, he said, you know, we condemn these attacks from Hamas, but we understand that we have to find a two-state solution. That's it. That's all you need to do. Both sides are happy with that, right? I don't know why you need to divulge in it anymore, really. That's just a simple stance. It's the stance that I have. I thoroughly condemn the attacks from Hamas, and I condemn the awful retaliation from Israel as well, where you're cutting off water supply. You know, both sides are happy, but obviously Starmer is so petrified of upsetting the Jewish part of the Labour Party because of all the rumours before of anti-Semitism. But this is Starmer, isn't it? This is what he is. He will not answer a question honestly. Whether you like Corbyn or not, you know, my viewership and the people that watch my channel are kind of split more or less 50-50 on Jeremy Corbyn from what I've gauged on the comments. But whether you like him or not, you know that when he answers a question, he's giving his honest opinion. And, you know, we don't get this from Starmer. We've never had this from Starmer. It's not a surprise. We've gotten used to this now. But this is his tactic to win the next election. He's just going to say whatever he's going to say in order to win the next election. I never know when he answers a question if it's his honest opinion. I just know that he's saying what he thinks he needs to say to win the next election. But the thing is, maybe if he wins the next election, he'll be amazing. Maybe he'll be a great prime minister. Maybe he'll bring in some great policy that's really going to change this country. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. This is my problem with Starmer. I don't know. And I hate the fact that I don't know, and I can't trust him. I just have to place my bets and just hope he's going to do the right thing. Because, you know, in a way I do understand this tactic, that it's incredibly complex to win an election in this country. With our first past the post voting system, you have to try and get votes in certain areas, and you have to say the right thing to please people in those certain areas. You have to steal Tory votes. You have to appeal to people that maybe are not generally in your party, are generally Labour voters. You have to do these things because our bloody voting system is so bonkers. So I understand these. I blame our voting system more than him, but on the flip side, I understand people's fears when the stuff that he comes out with is not really that much different to the Tories economically. It's like I say, you just got to wedge your bets and just hope. That's where I feel on Starmer at the moment. But yeah, I don't know why he said that. Like I said, the Israel-Palestine thing, it's just so simple for him to just come out and just condemn both sides. Easy. I don't think anyone on the Israel side or the Palestine side can really object to someone just simply saying we condemn Hamas's attacks and we condemn the lengths that Israel are going to starve out the population of Palestine. Done. Everyone should be happy with that. But yeah, that's enough. That's enough on Israel Palestine. I've talked too much on it. It's just the one thing that really winds me up, and I've said this before, is just people that know a little bit of information on the subject of Israel Palestine and then take a staunch side on the topic. They're staunchly pro-Israel or staunchly pro-Hamas, with a little bit of information on a topic that is so vastly complicated, that goes back thousands of years. Unless you've really studied the subject properly, you shouldn't be talking about it. But anyway, let's move on, because I shouldn't be talking about prison system. I want to talk about the prison system. So the prisons are full, absolutely full. Tories' plan, Sunak's plan to tackle this is to stop putting shoplifters in prison. To be honest, not many shoplifters go to prison anyway. Like I say, I've done 15 years of retail, various different jobs. The one that I was mainly involved with shoplifters was when I worked, I managed a little jeans store called Madhouse. Does anyone remember that store, Madhouse? Used to sell Levi jeans, stuff like that. Yeah, Brighton. I used to manage the one in Brighton on Western Road, and on Western Road was full of drug addicts, alcoholics, and we had a serious problem with shoplifting. Now, shoplifting is increased, and there is obviously now it's bringing into people that are poor, mums that are stealing formula for their babies, because anyone that's having to make those sort of life choices at the moment, my heart goes out to you. I can't imagine what that's like, having to choose to steal to feed your baby. It's terrible. But the vast majority of shoplifting in this country comes from drug addicts. Like I say, I've got a bit of experience in this area, and everyone that shoplifted from my store, 90% were drug addicts. So shoplifting, again, this is what we get from the Tories. We get sticking plasters that are put over problems. You're trying to sort out. You're not sorting out the problems at its source. You're trying to fix the symptoms. Shoplifting is the symptoms of drug addicts. Now, I've talked about my opinions on drugs so many times, people are probably getting bored of it. But so many problems in this country stem back that, and the epidemic of shoplifting is coming out because we won't sort out the drug problems in our country, and we won't help out drug addicts. Now, very quickly, my stance is a Portugal stance of decriminalising, getting help for people that are addicted to drugs and get them back into tax-paying members of society, and we all benefit. And if the shoplifting comes down, the prices in your shops go down, because supermarkets lose billions of pounds from shoplifting. Big chain shops lose billions of pounds from shoplifting. If we can reduce the shoplifting, then the price will come down of goods. They can be more competitive, but they have to put aside so much money for shoplifting, and it's a massive problem. But again, it's not going to solve the prison system, because hardly any people go to prison for shoplifting. They'll get cautions, they'll get community service. My answer to the overwhelming population in prison is to put less people in prison. Prison, for me, should be there for violent criminals, people that are a danger to society. And I think things like shoplifting should be dealt with community service, all sorts of great things that you do, helping people in the community. When people think of community service, you think of like scraping graffiti off of a wall and stuff like that, but there can be so many other things. Community gardens, areas in communities in the city that have gone into disrepair. You walk past, you see a burnt mattress down on this. The sort of areas I'm talking about. Discarded, where fly tippers come, just messes. Community service, group of people get together, let's put a nice garden bed down, put some flowers, make it nice. There's so many things you can do with community service. You put someone in prison for shoplifting, what are they going to do? Okay, they're going to lose their job if they had one. They're going to get a criminal record, so they're not going to be able to get a job when they come back out. What is the point? What are we learning? What are we doing with this? far better for community service, that you don't need to put, if you're applying for a job, you don't need to put down your community service. You get together with other people, you meet other people, you do something good, you can see a physical good that you've done, an area in your community that has gone into disrepair, and you fixed up and made it look beautiful, and you feel good at the end, and you also get help in trying to change your life, especially when it comes into drugs. And no one that takes drugs should go to prison. And this is the big thing. This is the big one that will solve the prison population a lot more. Don't put drug addicts in prison. They have health problems. They have mental health problems. They have trauma in their life. No one takes heroin for a laugh. No one thinks, you know what, I might try some heroin today. They're trying to get rid of pain and suffering in their life. Help them with that pain and suffering. Help them to become a better member of community and become a tax-paying citizen again. Just endless cycles of chucking them in prison doesn't solve anything. No one that takes drugs should go to prison. Thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Well, I've talked about drugs so many times, but you know, this is relevant now with the prison system. We're becoming like America, where I saw the stats a while ago, but I'm pretty certain that we're still the #1 jailing country in Europe. We jail more of our population than any other country in Europe, and America jail more of their population than anyone in the entire world. That's figures as well. That's not percentage of population. That's actual physical amount of people. So America jail a physical amount of people more than China, that have got 1 billion population. It's not a way to solve these problems. It's really not. Right, I think I'm coming close to my delivery destination, so I'll say goodbye. But yeah, again, if you've got any questions that you want me to answer on my video on Monday, pop them down below, put a capital Q at the end. If you enjoyed the video, maybe put a like, and if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up there. I'm sure there'll be another video that you can check out. You can go click on that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.